Hello, everyone, and welcome. Did you see that fake smile I had to start off the segment? It's TexAgs Rewind, presented by Specs. You know what? Specs is never late. They're always on time. Bring home the bubbly for your baby with the Specs huge selection of champagne and sparkling wine. You'll be the VIP of Valentine's Day with Specs gourmet chocolates and truffles for less than you'd expect. All right, we're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Had a fun show today, and I'm going to ask you, Maria, what was your favorite part of the program?
My favorite part was when Luke came in because I really liked his candle, the Luka Doncic candle.
Oh, I did see the Luka. Yeah, that was your favorite part of the audio show that we do here on TexAgs.
Yeah. Radio.
Yep. We did Patting the Rock with Luke and Tap. Cade, favorite part of the show?
I will say Mr. Pate. It's fantastic having him on the show now. Weekly segment. That's huge for the program.
Love Josh Pate. I love Charean Williams. I don't know Jordan Hill well enough to say I love him, but I think he's a really good insider for Georgia basketball. He gave us some insight to what to expect tonight. We had all that and much more, but I don't think you'll get more. You have to watch the whole show for the more part. But you'll get this part on the Rewind.
Yeah, they're struggling. They've hit a skid where really the only wins of note lately have been South Carolina, LSU, and we're talking about two of the worst teams in the SEC. It's sort of the rubber meets the road right now for Georgia. I thought looking back at that Mississippi State game, great opportunity to win. I thought a win that they sure could have used when it comes to trying to stay on that NCAA tournament bubble. Very uncharacteristically bad defensive effort. I think Mississippi State wound up shooting like 56% from the field on the road, and they let one slip away, lose by a point. And yeah, this is a team that had put itself in a position to be in this NCAA tournament talk. They're 4-7 right now in SEC play. I really think with 7 games to go, they got to get at least 3 more SEC wins. Probably would be better off with 4. But it kind of feels like this thing might be slipping away, and I think they're in for a pretty long night, I'm expecting, in College Station.
Well, it seems like when they do have trouble, it's typically when they're on the road. Is that fair?
Absolutely. I mean, you look at some of their games, a great opportunity at Arkansas when Arkansas didn't have an SEC win. Georgia had a 15-point lead in the second half. They wound up losing that one by 3. Lost by 30 to Florida, by far the worst game Georgia's had this season. Lost by 21 to Alabama, a game that was pretty competitive until probably 5 minutes into the second half, and then Alabama just took it over. So, yeah, it's a team that 0-5 on the road in SEC play this year. Their only road win at all was against Georgia Tech, which in-state rivalry, going to Atlanta, not necessarily a long trip for Georgia. But, yeah, I mean, looking at these last 8-9 games for Georgia, we're talking about what games they need to win. I've kind of ruled out the road games just knowing how much they've struggled, other than South Carolina, who, again, we're talking about the worst team in the conference. So, yeah, they have not played well on the road. A lot of turnovers in a lot of those games. The Florida game, they had 14 in the first half alone. So I would say pay attention to how they play, especially in that first half. If they limit turnovers, they may wind up being able to hang with Texas A&M, but it has been an issue in these road games.
Just talk a little bit about those ingredients that you have seen for years there that you still think still in play, I should say.
Yeah, it was funny how when I did the segment, I was literally looking at those comments this morning. One of the first things I do is check our analytics on our channel every morning. So, as you know, David, anything you say that someone disagrees with is clickbait. It cannot just be that someone has a difference of opinion. So, me saying that A&M has powerhouse resources, powerhouse tools, was viewed as clickbait. To me, it's common sense. If I despised Texas A&M, I'd still have to admit that much. So the premise of what we were doing in the segment was a guy had asked me in a mailbag segment, do you think that A&M will ever be a powerhouse? So I was asking, well, how do you define powerhouse? Because you can do it one of two ways. It could either be a program that's got all of the boxes checked, whether it has or hasn't happened on the field, they've got what it takes, like got the ingredients in the kitchen, even if the meal's not on the table, or it's a program that's already proving it, and they're Ohio State or they're Georgia. They're winning consistently every year. So Texas A&M has not been the latter to a consistent basis, but the former, the walking into the kitchen, opening the fridge, opening the pantry doors, the cabinets, and all the ingredients are in there, no one's ever been able to convince me that's not the case. So then the follow-up, the perceived gotcha moment when anyone like me makes the argument that A&M has got all the powerhouse ingredients they need is, well, if they've got it, why haven't they been able to make it happen? Well, I would argue twofold. Number one, the right head coach hadn't been there. And number two, you haven't had that collection of ingredients in College Station forever to the degree that you have what you have right now. I'd argue that's a post-Manziel concept. I'm not telling anyone here anything they don't know, but I'm talking to a guy in Spokane, Washington, who's never been to East Texas or Central Texas or West Texas in his life. And I'm trying to explain the unexplainable. And it is that one guy, sometimes a coach, sometimes a player, can transform a program's future forever if he's impactful enough. And Johnny Manziel did that in College Station.
What is it, your 30th Super Bowl you've covered? And just kind of take me through the whole thing and the emotions of the game.
Yeah, it was a great week. It was a really downer of a game. You know, I just wanted a good game. I don't particularly like either team and don't dislike really particularly either team. So I just wanted a good game. I think like most of the nation did. And I think got disappointed from that standpoint of the Eagles just came out and took it to them. Now, I thought the Eagles would win. I picked the Eagles to win. I picked it 28-20, but I thought it would be a fairly close game, and it just wasn't. And I think the fact that what impressed me the most about the Eagles is they didn't blitz one time, 42 dropbacks, 0 blitzes. They got there with their front four, and it was almost like they knew what Patrick Mahomes' first read was. They took that away, and by that time the pass rush was there. And he got sacked more than any other game in his career, 6 sacks, 16 pressures. They just played great on that front. I have an MVP vote, 1 of 16. And I voted for Josh Sweat because I don't think they would have won that game without the pressure that their front four put on Patrick Mahomes. And I think it shows in college, high school, pro, whatever, you know, we wouldn't rank Jalen Hurts as a top 5 quarterback, I don't think. Now, his stature just went up some, winning a Super Bowl. I get that, but I don't think any of us would have him in the top 5 of quarterbacks in the league. But when you have a efficient quarterback who he has 1 turnover, but basically doesn't turn the ball over, can run the football as well as throw the football, and you have a really, really elite defense that can, with the front four that can get out the quarterback without blitzing, I think you see what a team like that can do. They were the best team in the NFL. Now, they might have lost that game because they didn't have the best quarterback, they didn't have the best coach, but they showed you they were the best team in the NFL. And I said that before the game. This isn't something I'm saying after the game. I said it before the game, that the quarterback and the coach of the Chiefs was better, but everything else on the Eagles was better, and they had the better team, the better personnel, and they showed that.
Who has been A&M's best player? Who is A&M's best player? Which I think we know the answer to that. Who's A&M's most consistent player?
You got it first. Oh, appreciate that. Most consistent? Gosh, you know.
Terrell Payne. It's got to be, right?
Well, I was getting to him.
Oh, sorry.
I was making it sound like that. I already mentioned Pharrell, that he's a man.
Yeah.
You know, but the difference is they have that person that's a threat inside, and it's opened up things for the perimeter. But Pharrell has definitely been the most consistent. And then, you know, Wade doesn't have to carry the team like he has in the past, and I think that's helped us. And I think the other side of it, too, is, and I mentioned before, this is the time of season I always thought A&M, because of the style they play with the defense and everything, might start wearing down, but I think they have the depth this year, and I think they're not going to wear down at the end of this season.
Most consistent player is C.J. Wilcher, because he's going to hit 1-3, at least 1-3 every game. Now, I would like him to take more than just 2 shots and play more than 10 minutes, but you know he's going to get a 3.
Why do you think he doesn't play more than 10 minutes? Is it because of the defense?
Because it's the defense and rebounding 100%, which I know there's a lot of discussion on if he should play more than another player on the team, but Buzz values defense and rebounding. But I would like to see, and they've done this before, situationally using C.J. Wilcher. Like when he's in the game, drop a play for him immediately. And if that doesn't work, go back to him again. Like don't put the ball in his hands to dribble. Have him coming off a screen so he can just catch and shoot. And that's worked. When he makes his shots, he can get hot faster than everyone on the team not named Wade Taylor.
All right, Griggs, tell the people what to do, and don't be late.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
I love doing the little daggers, but only
Like
6 of
this?
us.
Like that thing?
Shooter McGavin. Do you know who Shooter McGavin is?
No.
Happy Gilmore. Zach,
Come on,
you're,
yeah.
you're not
Is that
fired.
a movie?
Are you? You don't know who Happy Gilmore is? He was the 13th president of the United States.
No.
I feel really
I know
rude.
Gilmore Girls.
Good show. Never
That is
watched
a
it in
good
my
show.
life ever.
Oh,
Happy Gilmore, 13th president.
Happy Gilmore Girls.
No, Happy Gilmore, the president.
I don't know who that is.
But I mean, you know presidents.
I know some.
Okay, well, he was one of them. Happy Gilmore.
Awesome.
See you next time. It's TexAgs Live. Or Rewind.